Dating is something most of us do at some point in time. It usually starts late middle school to early high school era in our lives and lasts until we find a relationship with someone we want to stay with. So what does this word dating mean in our society today? Well, a quick search from Oxford Languages pulls up to go out with somebody in whom one is romantically or sexually interested. In the past, this has resulted in marriage. This is not so much the case today, but would normally look like meeting someone from your social group and spending time together. Just as everything with time and technology, things change, and dating is no different. So that brings me to the argument which I would like to make, that online dating is negatively affecting how we date and our commitment levels in relationships. Online dating is relatively a new concept, but is a way that a lot of people meet in our current age that we live in. Although it is popular, I believe it is changing the culture of dating, unknowingly training us for variety rather than satisfaction, and developing a lack of commitment in relationships we might have. So, what is online dating? Well, the first online dating site was Match.com, and it was made in 1995. The slogan it was created with was that singles would be more likely to find other singles. How online dating works is by logging into your preferred dating site and finding people you might be interested in and chatting with them and eventually meeting them in person. Now, the criteria that I would like to discuss from our book, Textbook Potter, is that I believe that online dating follows the life cycle of most media mediums. It has an innovation period, which online dating sites and apps are created, and then it is currently in its peak stage where it is climbing and becoming, its penetration stage where it is rising in popularity within communities. I don't believe it's quite reached its peak stage where it is the top. It definitely has not reached decline or adaptation stage. Dating sites create platforms to reach certain people. They create niches directed at certain people groups to draw their attention, like the site Tinder. That Tinder is directed more towards young adults between the ages of 19 and 25, while there's an app called Grindr, which is more related to homosexual men. Also, I believe they condition us to wanting us to come back, like Tinder, which is labeled with the hookup culture app, in the sense that people go on Tinder to find people that they find attractive, meet up, hook up, and move on and come back to the app and do the same thing. I also think that media is having effects that we may never have intended, that we'll look up 20 years down the road and has affected the way we interact with people in ways that we did not intend. Eventually, we intended it just to fulfill the whole of loneliness or intimacy, but in reality, as we'll look up and realize that we had missed opportunities in relationships because we were too focused on the wide variety that we have. So I believe online dating has changed the culture of dating by creating the hookup culture. In the past, dating was always with the intentions of having a lasting relationship. Most people got married after a year or so of dating, but now marriage is not so much on the minds of young people. It is more focused on having a good time and moving too fast and just spending time with each other. Instead of looking for lasting life relationships, they're looking for one-night relationships. It's changing the culture and how we date and how we perceive what dating is for. Online dating is also training us for variety rather than satisfaction. In an article that I read called A Million First Dates, How Online Dating is Threatening Monogamy, it tells the story of this guy named Jacob. Just an average dude who, when he found someone to be with, he was afraid that he might lose them and he would do anything to keep them, even though he wouldn't do the right things to keep them. And eventually he turned to online dating. And online dating gave him this huge variety of options, and he continued to take part in all the different options, dating multiple women at a time. And finally he found this woman named Rachel. And he dated her for a while, and a lot of her preferences and interests all lined up with his. But ultimately, then they dated for a few years, and he didn't do things to make the relationship last. He did not invest in the relationship. And when he knew it was coming to an end, he didn't really care because he knew there was options out there. because there was options, he didn't invest in his own relationship that he had then, which could have worked out great for him. He wasn't satisfied because there were a wide variety. Being more personal in my life, I have a favorite energy drink. I am a full-time student and I have a full-time job, and sometimes late nights and early mornings really get to me. And so I boost up with energy drink. And my favorite brand is Reign, and they have a green apple flavor that is my favorite. And I'm satisfied every time I buy it. It gets me going, it tastes great, and every time I go into the convenience store to get one, when I get it, I'm satisfied. There may be options, but ultimately I know what I want, and when I have it, it's exactly what I wanted. While if I go variety, changing things every time and getting different things because it's new and exciting, they may leave me dissatisfied. They may not give me the boost that I need, and they may not taste the way I wanted them to. I think online dating is training us for variety rather than satisfaction. Because think about it, when you go to a restaurant and they have a lot of things on the menu and you order something, you eat it, it may have been great. And if it was the only thing on the menu, you would have been satisfied, like, oh, that was awesome, they did really good at that. But if they had a million different things on the menu, you'd be like, man, I wish I could have tried that. I wish I had that. Sometimes variety isn't the best option. Also, online dating is developing a lack of commitment in relationships we might have. In the culture we have today, at least in the culture that I'm in, people are more and more less likely to make commitments, even in the small things. There might be something happening Friday night, but you don't commit to go to it because there might be something better that happens. But ultimately, nothing else better happens, so you miss the thing that you could have committed to. If you look at marriage rates over the last decade, 2 decades, they have drastically decreased. In 2001, 8.2 people per 1,000 got married. In 2018, 6.5 per 1,000 people got married. Dropped quite a bit. And over the past 2 decades, it's been a gradual drop in people getting married. If you look over the past 100 years, it goes up and down, which any statistic goes up and down after a while. And you would see real record highs right after World War II, people getting married, and record lows during the Great Depression. Over the past 2 decades, it has been a steady decrease. There's been no ups in the way down. I don't think we can completely attribute this to online dating. There are probably a lot of other factors, but over the past 2 decades, internet and social media and smartphones have been more prevalent within our society than ever. And I think people are getting less, that are not as good at interacting with each other as they used to be. I think that's affecting our relationships, not just within society, but also romantically and within marriages. I think online dating is playing a major role in this, and I think it'll play a major role as society goes on. I'm afraid online dating is going to have effects we don't even realize. And we'll look up at 20 years and not with memories of joy, but rather with memories of regret and dissatisfaction. And so all I ask that you would remember and that you would think of as you online date, as you interact with people online is, what's my purpose here? Am I looking for a long-term relationship? Or am I looking for the one-night stand? So that you won't be dissatisfied when you get the result you want, you don't want. That you'll know it's coming.